Entertainment news today. You're such a dragon gay. Everything sucks and it's no good. That comes out of Hollywood. But there's one place you can go to get all your news and info, and maybe even have a laugh or two. You know it's true. Midnight's Edge after dark is life. We stand for nerds and geeks, we will survive. From Star Wars to Jurassic Park, it's Midnight's Edge after dark. All those bombs and flops, but MEAD never stops. We will keep going through the night as we keep up the culture fight. Midnight's Edge after dark is life. We stand for nerds and geeks, we will survive. From Star Wars to Jurassic Park, it's Midnight's Edge after dark.
Welcome to the program. It is time for Midnight's Edge After Dark. We got Mikey in the chat. How you doing, Mikey? You can be on the panel, you know.
Nerds.
Nerd. How's everybody doing out there? How's all the mods in chat? Hopefully you're doing well. Thank you, Six, for helping me out getting things rolling here today. We got a special guest tonight. I know he's normally a panelist, but it's been a while since he's been on MEAD. How you doing, Scribe Light?
Doing all right. Good evening, everybody. Yep, things just lined up today, and I had a little extra time. Plus, I got plenty to say about Alien Earth, so here I am, rock me like a hurricane.
You mean Robo-Teens Planeteers?
That's
That's what I'm calling it.
Okay.
And we also have Brian back from his vacay as well, you fucking Scott.
Give a break, you dauber. Can you go back home? You always end up sounding just like them. I can't.
Diddly diddly
I'm talking about,
potatoes.
like, you know, like, give a break.
Hook off.
Dilly potatoes.
I'm still learning. I'm still trying to learn how to speak English again after being back
Oh,
in Scotland.
Lord, here we go.
So
We'll
you
help.
don't speak English
This
and you're
means-
straighter. So we gotta do all of that.
I'm not learning to be
Right?
straight, just speaking English.
Yeah, Nick, all the work we've done undoing this shit already with the gayness and the Scottish accent, and now he's just gone right back.
Yeah.
Well, they could call me the
gotta
Flying
accept that.
Scotsman.
You're gonna be reprogrammed, and it's gonna be all about homoeroticism and English.
Keep your sheep out of his
Yes.
vicinity.
Well, I did take a few pictures of sheep in Field of Dreams. I entitled that video. It was a beautiful field full of Scottish sheep.
It's a very lovely.
And I did visit a woolen mill.
Oh, my God.
Is that
which
some
they
sort of sex move?
Well,
right.
I assumed it was until I was arrested. And
Oh,
but if you're wearing some imported Scottish woolen jumpers, just check them very carefully in case they're a bit sticky.
it's a heavy petting zoo.
Wow. That's good. Yeah, and very touchy.
Heavy petting zoo.
Yes. Anyway, it's an absolute pleasure to be back for you. That is.
Oh, yo.
We also have a Canadian here. We're just diverse as hell. How you doing, CC Karaoke?
A Canadian?
We got
I'm
all
a
the
Canadian
white folk
too.
here.
I spent 2 hours watching Gen Z Earth today.
Oh, God.
I have thoughts.
Well, we're going to talk about that. Yes, indeed. We also have with us 32 flavors of Nick Weiser. How you doing, Nick?
Hi guys, I'm happy to be hanging with the boys. I was listening to some Kenny Loggins before this, and I'm ready to play.
Are you all right?
Am I all right? Only
Are you
when
gonna
I'm
meet me halfway
Let's hear it for the boy.
only when I'm playing with the boys will I be all right.
in the danger zone?
In the danger zone. Taking my breath away.
He didn't write that, but that's okay.
No, he didn't.
Or sing it.
I'm just adding more Top Gun themes to our.
That was all Top Gun. We have plenty of Kenny. I got so much Kenny Loggins here. It's like I'm nobody's fool. Whoa!
Oh.
See what I did there?
Yeah.
And for the first time, that's another one nobody knows. See? All right, let's talk about some
Who's
Alien
Kenny
Earth.
Loggins?
Are you fucking kidding me?
Just kidding.
You are 70s rock fan.
You are a sick
Well,
man.
I didn't say I was
You know who that
70s
is.
MOR soundtrack man, did I?
Your mama don't dance and your daddy don't rock and roll, sir. That's all I got
pref-
to say to
I
you.
prefer Loggins and Messina.
That's why I did that one.
Did they do House on Pooh Corner?
Yes, they did do the
That
poo
was a
on House
lovely
Corner.
song. Yeah.
Oh,
They
man.
put it on the House's Corner, yeah.
Reverse it, strike it. You know what I meant.
Mhm.
So a lot of people are giving me crap about Superman coming to digital already. Look, it was set to stay out longer, but somebody convinced James Gunn and all the other folks at Warner Brothers that this was a good idea to get it out there to pretty much promote Peacemaker. Like, let's be real, that's what it's all for. He put out a long explanation. It's been hitting the news, so I just want to address that real quick. Look, at the end of the day, the movie is technically made more domestically than Joker and a lot of other superhero movies, so on that end, it's done very well. Just internationally, it hasn't done well, but you know what? No movie that isn't called Spider-Man or Deadpool hasn't done well internationally for the last 5 years either. So that being said, that being addressed and out of the way. So yes, tomorrow it will be hitting digital, or midnight tonight, depending on your time zone, I guess. Yeah, so there you go. So for those who haven't seen it yet, you get a chance to check it out on digital now. And yes, I did see the Ninja Turtles coming out on 4K. I know a lot of people have been tagging me in that as well. So thank you for that. And yes, I am blocked by Shatner as well, in case anybody's wondering.
Oh.
I have been for a while. We got Miller in the house. It's Miller time with 14 Sub African Rand says, let's be clear, they did not announce a JJ Trek movie. Yes, we'll talk a little bit about that when we get past Alien Earth. Flying Blind on a Rocket Cycle's been here for 6 months. Thank you. And also says minimum effort. Well, you got your minimum effort, buddy. You got your minimum effort. In fact, I'll give you a little minimum effort puppy for that.
Oh.
There you go.
Dog.
But since we have Scribelight here and he wants to talk some Alien, or should I say Robo-Teen Planeteers,
Yeah. Okay. So, boy, I got
let's
a lot
talk
to say
about that
this.
first.
Yeah. So Wednesday on the morning show, at that point, I'd only seen the first episode. And with any series that I watch, I usually give it 2 episodes to see if it'll hook me. It doesn't really matter what it is. And if it doesn't, I don't. And if it does, I stick around. It's more out of morbid curiosity that I'll continue watching this show. But yeah, so by the end of the second episode, a lot of things started not making sense. And I want to predicate this. I said this on the
By the
Twitter
second
chat
episode? I was going to say,
well, no, I mean more so,
but okay.
more so. Like I say, I give it some time to see if it can, figure itself out. But yeah, on the Twitter chat, I was talking how, of all the things that I wouldn't have thought possible for this series of everything else, is given Noah Hawley's experience and his pedigree with things like Fargo, it would be the writing and the pacing. I already imagined, based on things that were said a couple of years ago when the show was first being produced, that it might have a lot of heavy-handed messaging or implied messaging about social issues and such. But I wouldn't have thought it'd be so badly written or badly paced. God, where to start with this? Well, the first big problem is, and you've talked about this on the previous Midnight's Edge regarding like the Blade Runner fetish that apparently this series has.
That it inherited from Ridley Scott, I guess.
Yeah, the main narrative conceit of this series regarding our protagonist is that you can have a robot that has had a human consciousness transferred into it. By the way, spoilers, guys, it's unavoidable. And the issue is that makes absolutely no sense either in the setting or in a philosophical sense that the show even really explores. except in the most nascent ways in the first few minutes of the first episode. And then it just kind of goes off. So essentially, you have children's souls that are being purportedly transferred into robotic bodies as a form of proof of concept immortality. Except it makes absolutely no sense. You have digitized memories put into a robotic body, which has been a part of science fiction going back decades. And nothing in the show leads me to think that it's anything other than that, unless there's going to be some grand revelation later. So the whole specialness of the main character, or one part of her specialness, makes no sense, as well as the group of individuals around her. So that just
Wendy.
feels.
It's Wendy.
This is Wendy.
Yeah,
Wendy,
she's dubbed herself Wendy. Yeah,
Right.
Yeah, Wendy. Yeah, because they've gone with since Disney now owns Fox,
They're
can use
reborn.
they can use Peter Pan footage without any problems of licensing or copyright or
Wouldn't it
anything.
be
Oh,
great
that
if,
too.
No, you're talking about the old cliche of, human consciousness in an android body. Wouldn't it be great if one day they had an android consciousness in a human body?
Oh well,
I know, right?
We have that. It's called Bicentennial Man.
Oh, well, it's, I guess. So.
Technically, the RoboCop remake is that too.
Yeah, but anyway, so you start off with a character who is obviously a superhero. We see her jump off of things from 1,000,000 miles up and land, and she's perfectly fine. She can do things even her creators did not know she could do over the course of the thing. I kept thinking of the movie Lucy as I'm watching this character.
Oh, yeah,
because she has all of. Yeah, sorry.
No, I was just say for those who don't know, these are basically these are the Robo-Teen Planeteers that I'm talking about, right? Like they're these teenagers and kids that are basically transferred into these robot bodies, and now they're the Super Avengers.
Yeah, they have the mentality and the experience of children. We're talking 7 or 8 years old or something, placed into adult, late 20s, adultish bodies, and they behave like children.
So it's big.
Yeah, it's kind of like big. And then, but we're told also is that something about the transference process allows the consciousness to be there, but not emotions, because emotions
Which we see
which is bullshit, because we see them expressing emotions.
Yeah,
Thing. Now,
right away.
Now I said on Wednesday, only having watched the first episode, I said to myself, okay, her sentimental connection to her brother might be just a result of her memories are telling her that this person is important, not emotions. So she's reacting to the the echoes of what emotions are, not emotions themselves.
I remember you
I thought,
saying
okay,
that,
I said I can kind of believe that. I've seen that in other things. But we were explicitly told that because these robotic bodies do not produce hormones and are not organic, that they don't actually produce emotions. And yet we see characters express fear and egoism and camaraderie and a whole bunch of other things over the course of the first 2 episodes that throw that entirely out the water. So at every point that they try to say there's something different or special about these robot characters, it contradicts itself 10 minutes later. So we might as well be watching just robots. And so our emotional center for this show, supposedly, as far as I can tell, is meant to be our main character, her plight as a previously dying girl now in a forever body, and her quest to reunite with her brother, who is a still living person. And of everything else,
technically was supposed to cut ties with for some reason. Yeah, there's
right. Yeah, they engineered everything to convince because what they're doing, what our Timothy Chalamet in an adult body evil corporate guy is doing, is illegal. He's basically a Dr. Moreau. And he's got his island, and he's doing his experiments by putting children's souls into robotic bodies against the law or against whatever else. This is all sort of illegal experimentation.
I saw him more as what's his face in Social Network, but yeah, I get what you're saying.
Yeah. Well, you could replace the main guy with any quote unquote young tech billionaire or whatever.
Right.
Elon Musk, Zuckerberg, yeah. And so they falsify the deaths of all the children in real life to their families and otherwise, except apparently her dad knew the truth before he died, so I guess not everybody is kept in the dark. Yeah, they paid him off or something. I don't know. And so there's a whole bunch of other stuff to talk about, but I just want to talk about specifically the emotional core what this show is supposed to be, which is the sister and brother relationship. The brother is a human medic who just happens to go to the same area that the sister is secretly being roboticized in. And he is one of the few white males in the entire cast, and he is a skinny weenie boy who somehow continues surviving over and over again.
With big plot armor.
Well, him and Mr. Cyborg Captain from the ship and anybody... Anyway, that's a whole other discussion. So, at a certain point, without giving... I'm already giving away too much. At a certain point, Brother meets, unknowingly, sister and one of her other robot teenage companions. And as soon as he realizes that they are synthetic, he dismisses them because, in his mind and in this universe, synthetics are effectively appliances. Right. They're not real people, and he has no emotional connection to appliances, and that's kind of how the social stratification of this universe worked, both in this show.
At least that's how they were treated in the original, yeah.
Yes, exactly. And so as soon as he realizes that they are synthetic, you see a complete change in his demeanor towards them. He's not concerned about them as being people that he needs to treat or see to the welfare of. He just kind of moves on. But then, and I thought this would take a lot longer. I was kind of surprised. It is the spoiler alert to in the show. The companion robot leaks out the secret to the brother that the girl that he's with right there is his sister. And then they have this moment, this completely terrible, non-heartstring moment where she is basically repeating back to him personal trivia that only the sister would know, so he can convince himself this really is his sister, resurrected. Except he knows it's not. And when they have this moment that is an attempt to make the audience have an emotional reaction to him having this revelation, this certainty now that he's talking to his previously dead sister, it falls so flat and rings so hollow that I was, of everything else in the show I'd seen to that point, there's plenty to complain about, I thought, if this is what is supposed to be carrying us along as the audience for an emotional anchor, we're done. Because this makes no sense to the universe. This makes no sense to the knowledge. We have a medical professional looking at what he knows as a synthetic being and just accepting the idea that she is repeating back to him trivia that could be just artificially implanted memories, because we already know that synthetics in this universe have artificially implanted memories, and accepting it as his resurrected sister. I'm like, no. So
again, this is more Blade Runner type shit, though. That's my issue with it.
Yeah, I mean, if they wanted to, exactly, this kind of idea would work much better in Blade Runner, because that was the whole point of Blade Runner. Blade Runner was, what is humanity? What is the soul? What is consciousness?
Yes.
What differentiates the artificial from the biological? When you have Roy Batty wanting more time because he loves his life, is that the behavior of a machine or the behavior of a sentient, etc.? Yeah, that makes more sense.
And the implanted memories and all that shit.
And the implanted memories and all that, yeah. Those kind of questions make a lot more sense. If they wanted to try to integrate the Blade Runner universe into the Alien universe, don't. Just stop. Anyway, I've gone on long enough.
No,
that's my major
I
complaint.
agree with you, and that's my problem, is that I feel like Ridley Scott, even though he has very little to do with this, has tainted this universe so badly with his incessant need. And I don't know why he just won't do Blade Runner sequels. Just go do them, right? You want to keep exploring this gay robot shit, and I do use the term gay in the gay sense of the word, because if you've seen Alien Covenant and Prometheus, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Right? You got him standing there. This is a line from one of the movies. I'll do the fingering if you do the blowing. Yeah. The robot's blowing on a flute, but you tell me that isn't a sexual gay innuendo. Fucking A, Ridley. Get over yourself with your pretentiousness and your bullshit. Because that's my other problem with this series, is let's get past all the canon breaking bullshit for just a minute and just look at the simple fact that, you know, you spend this entire show more so talking about the robots and all this other bullshit, which, as you said, in the previous films, they've all been treated like no more than appliances, unless there has been some reveal that somebody was a robot when we didn't know they were, like Ash or Winona Ryder's character in Alien 4, right? Like, otherwise, Bishop is the only one that we've ever seen that's kind of been treated in a way that he does kind of have a personality, but it's more like what you were saying, Scribe. It's just that he's programmed to work with humans, right? If
Bishop had been a ordered corporate drone to sabotage the whole mission to save the alien, he would have been that. He's not a hero because of his soul or something else. He's just programmed completely differently.
But
Just like Ash, exactly.
Something about this sounds very complex, because one of the great things about Alien and Aliens is that they're actually fairly simple stories, really.
Yeah.
First of all, there was only one synthetic creature in each one of those two movies, I believe. The ship or whatever. Whereas now they've got, this is a prequel as well, they've got lots of them, but they've also got lots of different hybrid nasties, and they've got lots of corporations, and they've got lots of everything. So it's become massively complex as a story, given that the things that follow it in the timeline were actually much more straightforward stories. So
exactly, Brian. And I would have less of a problem with a lot of this stuff if this was set post Alien Resurrection.
Is that Timothy Oliphant?
It is, and
well,
unfortunately,
it looks like he's in Thunderbirds.
Yeah, like he gives kind of one of his most stilted performances I've ever seen. And I get it, he's playing a robot.
Yeah, he's playing it.
But I can see this trend.
I mean, it's like
brown-faced him.
Yeah, he just looks weird. That's what I was trying to get to. Is it just the way they made him look is just weird. Like, and I get it, they're probably trying to make him, like they're trying to make him look like a synthetic of sorts or some kind of weirdness about him, but like, and then there's just the weirdness, the way that these kids that are put into these robots act. Like you said, you have the big problem, right?
And that would be my main fundamental thing with this show from the ground up. I mean, it's on Disney.
Yeah, because you saw it too,
It's
CC.
like,
Go ahead and give us your thoughts.
Like, it's Gen Z Earth, right? There's nobody other than maybe Timothy Oliphant. There's nobody in this cast over like 30, 35 years old. It's skeleton crew in that sense that it's like they're kids going up against the alien, and it just undermines the tension every step of the way. It doesn't have any of that adult camaraderie of Aliens, right? These are literally like kids in adult bodies acting like kids, and it's too much of that kind of marvelly humor gets into these situations where they don't act like adults.
Well, the other thing you brought up in the private chat, CC, was like the whole bullshit with the really crappy dialogue. And like, yes, I noticed that too. It's this very hokey, we're explaining to the audience everything kind of
exposition
incidental dialogue. Like it's and it comes off in the most, well, and it's not even so much that it is complicated. It just comes off in the most, I'm trying to think of the word. It's not even really pretentious. It is kind of pretentious. But at the same time, it's like, yes, I get what you're trying to do. You're trying to move the scene along while also giving us some sort of, exposition, as you just said. But then it goes against other things later on because, why is this girl needing this shit explained to her all over again, for instance, right? Like you pointed out, Scribe. Like she already would have known what the process was going to be all about, right? Yeah. Like, I mean...
Well, the other thing is the characters are paper thin. Right. I mean, from a pacing standpoint, there's a lot. Yeah. Again, there's that usual streaming issue where there's lots of long, drawn out shots of nothing, and we don't get almost any real meaningful background on these characters. I mean, personally, yes, I would prefer it if they were actual like grizzled adult veterans who, for one reason or another, needed to enhance themselves and got together in this group. That I might prefer that, but even then, as kids, we don't know anything about the backgrounds of these kids and what brought them together, other than, well, they were sick and they were dying, so this rich dude decided to transfer their consciousness into adult bodies.
One of the things was that really felt like a rug pull was that this series opens up almost exactly in both camera work and now, first and foremost, the production I have no complaints about because
same here.
The sets look great. But
it's like like the aliens that are not native to the franchise. The new creations are all dumb as shit.
Yeah, I know they are.
It's not based on the original art design.
Yeah, but you're talking about characterization, like getting to know the characters. Yeah. This show is pardon my French. This show has a cock tease right at the beginning of the first episode, where we have a setup that is almost a beat for beat recreation of the opening to the first Alien movie, where everybody's sitting around the table. And I thought, and I know this is wrong of me now, I thought that the first episode or at least the first couple episodes, would be everything taking place on the ship and us getting to know those characters. Because I thought, okay, we're establishing who these characters are. We're going to come to get to know them and understand them. No, by the end of it, yeah, except for one guy whose name I know, everybody else on that ship was dead in the first 10 minutes and didn't matter. And then, like you say, we have these kids who, I mean, and this is the thing, they're kids. They have no lives. They have no experiences. They have nothing to offer. They have nothing to fall back on as far as like, oh, well, this experience happened to me or I can relay this. No, they're like 7 or 8 year olds. So they're all blank slates and they're not even interesting kids or characters in their own right to begin with because they have no definition. They're kids. And even Timothy Oliphant's character, before we even get into the adventure, he says, you shouldn't send these guys out there. They have no training. They have no skills in being search and rescue. And like, you're right. Why the fuck are they doing anything? It didn't make any sense.
Yeah.
I found myself wondering, like, you know, if this show was actually going to be more layered, I mean, the brother might not be just a human brother, her actual brother growing up. The brother could be anything. The brother could be another synthetic. The brother could be an implanted memory. We could get into all of that, right? A little bit more
at this
complex,
point, they might as well make everybody a synthetic then.
Well, yeah,
that's my problem with this.
Go on.
Well, I was just going to say, like, if you're going to have people being transferred into robot bodies a la Avatar, right? Like, why are we not... It almost feels like it's a fuck you to Cameron again, right? Like, because let's be real. I've said this before, and I stand by it. This entire thing with Prometheus, Alien Covenant leading into Romulus and this started from a place where Ridley Scott was jealous. He was fucking jealous.
Never forgive him for that bullshit.
About James Cameron and how he was able to take Aliens, and Aliens was the one that made more money, got all the Oscar nominations. It's the story that kind of set all the rules for Alien going forward, right? And it established the alien as basically this bug, right? It's this perfect killing machine. And that's what I loved is about Aliens, and what most people love is that you get the Space Marines, right? Why isn't this show that? Why isn't this show set in the future? They know what they're dealing with. If you're going to transfer people into robots, why wouldn't it be Space Marines so they could actually stand a chance against an army of aliens?
Well,
that actually makes fucking sense to me, and I agree with you, Scribe. The first episode should have just been the first film in the ship, you know, with them getting killed by the alien as it comes to Earth.
Why does it look like Timothy Oliphant shaved his eyebrows?
Because he did.
Hold on,
I mean, the show doesn't.
Or they painted him white or whatever, so they were.
Sorry, but all I can see now is the strings from the Thunderbird puppets. That's all I can see.
It doesn't have an identity, right? I mean, it's another example of somebody obviously had their own idea that they wanted to present a story, and in this day and age, you can't do an original story anymore. Everything has to be attached to an IP. So it's attached to Alien, but why is, like, there's no reason for it to even be an alien. It's like, well, because he shared that meme backstage. It's like, well, when are we going to have aliens in this Alien show, right? It's not, it's whoever came up with the idea they wanted to create and put to film, they had to attach it to Alien, or they wanted to for some dumb reason. So it's not an Alien show, but it's also not an original show of whatever it is that the original idea was supposed to be. If it was Blade Runner, it would still be attaching itself to that, right? It's just another.
No, but what it's doing is doing, and Andre said this yesterday on the show too. They're doing the same thing that sci-fi has been doing for like 200 years now, almost, right? Asking, and even beyond that, when you get to philosophy and all that stuff, right? Like, this is shit that sci-fi has been covering for so long. It's old hat, right? Like, who cares about this robot soul bullshit? That's not what this thing is about. This thing is about aliens, right? And I even give them credit.
Better, like, so it's like if you replace the kids with actual, like, Marines, like aliens, gave them camaraderie and had them blow up a bunch of shit, it'd be a better show.
Mm-hmm. Game over, man. Game over.
Yeah.
We got to nuke them from space. It's the only way to know for sure.
Why you put her in charge?
That's what I want. I mean, like, we haven't had that again. Right? That's the one thing we haven't had again, really, in the entire Alien franchise. We have seen this shit a million fucking times now. Yeah. And Alien Covenant is just Alien Redo. Prometheus, Lord knows what the fuck you want to call that thing, right? Like, but that led us down this path to begin with. And even though they're claiming this isn't, off of Ridley Scott's canon, it's like, yes, it is, because Romulus was, even though I haven't seen it. Everybody I've talked to says, yes, it ties both worlds together, basically. And this idea that they keep pushing more shit into the prequel era goes against Aliens as well. Because in that movie, Burke is the reason why that the company does not know as much about these aliens as they think that they're presenting them now.
They think
right? You have four.
Handle them.
Yeah, they have four companies in this show that are all going after the alien that they all seem to know it exists. When in the original Aliens, which has happened, 60 years past this point, Burke is going on this mission with them, and he the only reason he's trying to capture the alien is so he can salvage his fucking career, because he was the idiot who sent these people, this mining colony, to the fucking planet that the aliens were on in the first goddamn place, even though he probably shouldn't have. That's why.
There's more tension in that mystery. Because the thing is, we all know what the alien is, and the alien doesn't have like the cunning of the original movie in this show either. It's just a creature that runs around slicing shit up. It doesn't respect that actual, like, there's one scene I like where it pretends to be a statue. It's kind of cool, right? But I mean, but for all intents and purposes, it's just like in the original movie, it actually hides in the shadows. It's a chameleon. It blends in, right? And there's a purpose to it. And speaking of purpose, there's alien pods on this ship. Where did they come from? Did the crew?
That was the other people were asking about. Yeah, where's the queen?
There's just a lot of like logical errors here, and I'm not sure the writers of this show are even thinking that far ahead. It's just like, hey, alien, kills things and it runs around and it slices and dices. And there's a couple of cool scenes of that, sure, but it's like it's not scary. There's no tension.
I'm just tired of this shit because they keep trying to make alien human hybrids, and I'm like, hello, McFly, a xenomorph is an alien human hybrid, right? Like, duh. I like that they were just bugs, basically, right? They're just the perfect killing machine. Like, there's nothing more to them. It
shouldn't be that difficult to make an alien movie. You get a bunch of aliens threatening a group of humans, and then mayhem breaks out with lots of people fighting with big guns. And
that's one thing we haven't had, like an alien war. Yeah.
Yeah. It shouldn't be that hard. It's like Blade. It's not that difficult.
But they need it to be difficult because, that's easy. That's simple. We can't do that. So
we have to explain where they came from and all the meddling and the blah, blah, blah.
The one synthetic dude, right? He there's a scene where he just walks into the room and completely incapacitates the alien with this stun gun weapon. And it's like, okay, in Aliens, it works because there's a ton of aliens. The aliens are smart, and you're blowing them up with flamethrowers. Here, the attention is supposed to be around this single alien that's attacking them in the building, right? And then you have this guy who goes in and completely incapacitates it, no problem, with a modern technological weapon. And it's like, well, okay, so you have the technology to just take out this alien so easily. And you also have this crew of synthetic kids who are presented to be super strong, who are not who shouldn't even be an interest to the alien because the alien cannot use them to reproduce, right? And they're super strong. They could be, I guess they'd be crushed. They could be burned or whatever, but like they are super soldiers, right? Even though they are with the minds of kids, they should actually have the strength to obliterate this alien as well, because we see the lead character in the show, her, early on in the first episode, she leaps off a cliff, hundreds of meters, like 100 meters up off the ground, and just like lands easily.
They're like flat out superheroes.
She can punch that alien in one shot and obliterate it, right?
And she can stick a blade to her back and it just sticks. Like there's no whole. Oh, I know. How do they work?
So there's one alien and they're coming at it with. I mean, one thing I liked about Alien 3, and I'll say that I know not everybody loves that movie, but at least one thing they did with it is you had these, you had people in a prison with no weapons, no guns.
Yeah.
They just had whatever they could find around them to scrounge up. There was actual tension in their lack of ability to combat the alien. And here, it's the opposite. You only have one alien, and the alien's not even presented with any real intelligence. It's just running around slicing shit up. And you have everybody who's either a superhuman or they have like super advanced technology that can take this thing out in one hit.
You know what I didn't like about this, real quick, about this, the cyborg thing? One of the things that I knew was kind of unavoidable at this point is the contrast between the retrofuturism and the futurism. And with this character here, Morrow, the captain of the ship at the beginning, his cybernetic hand is like, it's... I wanted to see something a lot more mechanical and not something that looked like, can do anything protoplasm, blue arm thing. It just...
Well, he just like materializes a knife out of it?
Yeah, he materializes a knife out of it. He has a blowtorch that comes out of it automatically and do a whole bunch of... He's Inspector Gadget with that arm.
And he's supposedly older than Ash, isn't he?
And the kids...
Well, he's a cyborg. He's a human being with just a robotic arm, purportedly.
I have a few questions here because that spaceship was on a 65-year mission for a start, right?
Right.
So, like, for to begin with, like, what the fuck happens in those 65 years, and how does that translate?
Well, they sleep most of the time. Yeah, that's why they have. That's why I was confused, and I thought he was a robot because he was the one who was awake. Right?
No, we're told very specifically he's a cyborg, so he's a human that has an enhanced arm.
I must have missed that part.
Then you have this other stuff where it's like, because the technology on the ship does have that old like 80s computer style.
Yes,
right?
It looks like the first movie perfectly.
And the kids who are in the show are like, any flashback scenes we get to them, like they're watching an old like 4x3 like TV, like the old deep.
And
like,
and they're watching Ice Age. TVs. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah,
I'm sorry. In 200 years from now, no kids are going to give a shit about Ice Age.
So I'm completely confused about any kind of timeline here and how it all fits together. It makes no sense.
Because it's supposed to be like 21. I don't remember the year, but it's like 3 years before the first,
or 2102 or something. Yeah,
2 years.
It's like 3 years
before 2 years before the first one.
Yeah. See, and then they were gone and they even say it in the beginning of the movie, and I'm trying to remember now, because they have like I think 6 months till they get back to Earth or something like that, right? Mm-hmm. Because that's what they're griping about, is to go off on to do this thing to check this salvage mission out. It's going to take them off course for a few more months. Like, because then I think they say, well, then it's going to be 9 months or something like that. And I can't remember, but they've already been out there for like a couple of years is the whole point, right? Because when they wake up in the beginning, they've been in cryo freeze for a while, and they're like, well, Ash woke us up. What for? Well, they got the signal thing, and we're going to go check it out, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, like that was the whole thing with the first movie. And the Romulus doesn't make sense either, because that one takes place in between Alien and Aliens, right? Mm-hmm. So like, because that's after, right? I haven't watched it yet, so some people in the chat, everything I've said so far, it sounds like it's true though. So I know Ash is in it, so it has to be after Aliens.
Sorry, Tom, I got to drop out.
Yeah, so, you got to drop out. I know we're going to be losing Scribe soon too, but thanks for being here.
No, it's great to be back. We'll see you again soon. If anybody's watching Comics Division later, I'll be on Thursday Night Throwdown. Have a great night, everybody.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.
Goodbye.
So I mean, for me, like the technology that's on this ship that's coming back to Earth, like I don't understand it. It's kind of a mix between, like you said,
and they wake up like several months, I guess, presumably before the crash on Earth, and they're talking about this about the companies, and they're trying to set up the lore of the world, right? Mm-hmm. It's like, you've been on this 65-year mission in cryosleep. Did you look this up? Was it transmitted to you after you got out of cryosleep? How do you know so much?
Oh, this is one of the scenes I was talking about, CC, where you get the crappy dialogue that's just to spill exposition to the... Because what you have here is what normally in normal writing is a good idea, but it's just handled so piss poorly here. So you have like what must be a new crew member. So they're like explaining everything to him.
Oh, no, they explained it as he didn't do his social studies homework or something.
Yeah, as he didn't that's it. Thank you.
This entire thing would have benefited from environmental storytelling far more than the ham-handed stuff. This is why we needed a whole episode or an episode of a half just on the ship and these people talking just, naturally to each other about things. And not being so like, oh, well, didn't you know that this company owns the moon now? I thought that company owned Mars. No. It was just, oh, my God. It was so awkward. I thought this is the worst opening because the Alien movie doesn't tell you anything. You have to learn about it by just implication, environmental storytelling, and things that the characters are saying to each other. That was what was so great about the dialogue in the first Alien movie, is that it felt like a lived-in universe, and so did the characters. They didn't tell you things you didn't already know. The information was relayed through casual conversation, organic conversations, or from the mother computer and things later. And that's what makes something worth watching again, is because when you have something that works as an established world, then you learn more things the second time watching it because you understand a little bit more by the end, and things start to make more sense. That's what gets people into it and immersed into it.
Well, in this world, people already know, right? So you don't need to explain all this shit again. We already know that Weyland, and that's what I liked about the original films, is Weyland was kind of like this company that was kind of off. Nobody really knew it. They didn't have really a face to it, right? And the one time we did see a face to it, it was Bishop's face as the guy who come in Alien 3, right?
Yeah, it was the invisible hand.
Yes, and that's what I always liked about it. It was like us versus the man, right? We get to see the blue-collar workers dealing with the shit, right? Like, that's the parts that I always gravitate, and that's really all Aliens, and Alien 3 really were, and to an extent, Alien Resurrection. It's not until you get to Prometheus and all this other stuff where you get into this heavy-handed fucking scientist and robot bullshit. Because to me, it's so just... The fact that you have to explain all this shit in what would basically be the 7th film in the franchise. If this was a film, it's a TV show though, right?
Well, I was going to say, I think one of the issues here, and spoiler alert, if you look on IMDb, these synthetic kids are contracted for 8 episodes, right? So, I mean, the idea of doing that 2 episodes on the ship, I love it. It'd be fantastic. I mean, you have 8 episodes. Why not make a feature film of a couple of hours of those crew members, and you set that up like a classic Alien film, and then you can expand from there. But these characters are contracted for 8 episodes. They have contract plot armor. They're in no danger. I mean, maybe they're in 6 episodes and then somebody dies and they're in flashbacks for the other 2. I don't know, but like they're on there for the whole season, right? You have to have them like a classic broadcast television show where it's like if somebody was going to take a vacation for a week, you'd find a way to like clip them in for 15 seconds so they have their appearance, right?
Yeah, and it completely robs the sense of danger at all for these characters. Like when I was gone on the phone call, I don't know if you guys talked about this, but when the skinny kid, our medic hermit guy, he encounters this costume party, and then all of a sudden the alien runs in there, slaughters a dozen people in about 7 heartbeats between him getting up and walking into the room, and then the alien smacks him. And then the alien smacks him around a little bit, and he survives. Like, wait a second. That doesn't make any sense. And so it's like, okay, this character's going to live. This character's going to live. Why Morrow, the captain of the science ship, who was already an antagonist of the alien before the ship even crashed, why he was allowed to live by the alien? Why did the alien sniff him and then walk away? Like, what? I mean, he was part of the company, or the alien was pre-programmed. Well, then why the aliens slaughter all the other people on the ship? It makes no sense.
The only thing that would make sense as to why he wouldn't is if he actually had an alien in him. That's the only time we've ever seen an alien ignore somebody.
I guess,
because even the robots they'll rip apart, because they ripped apart both Ash and Bishop.
Yeah, okay, that could be true. I mean, if that comes up,
if he is actually a cyborg or some humanoid, whatever, then they might have an alien inside. That's
okay.
I guess the complicating factors there. First,
that's
of all,
just me knowing that's how, because that's what the one alien did to Ripley. Remember? Sorry, go ahead, CC.
I think it's a great idea. I'm just I'm doubting that the writers are having the thought process for this. At the start of the first episode, the alien like full on attacks this guy. So if he's going to have an alien in him, besides the fact that he's supposed to be cybernetic, that alien would have to be implanted during the crash, right?
Or prior to it, yeah.
Yeah. in between the time when he is hiding from the alien during the crash and after the spaceship crashes.
Yes.
And then second of all, what is it? Hermit, the brother, his name is Hermit. So it thrashes him around a bit. He's got plot armor. That's why the alien doesn't kill him. But it would be cool if there was something actually more to him that would explain some things that could actually kind of make it more complex than she's just sort of
obsessed with her, everybody's special,
brother,
though, then nothing is special. That's the only thing. But I can't say that that's not where the show is going to go, because already it's made some really ridiculous choices for its characters. But I think that'd be laying it on way too thick if brother was surgically enhanced or a synth, or he was secretly an alien human hybrid or some crazy thing like that. I think that'd be a bridge too far. But who knows with this show?
I mean, the show's already in this place where everything is at that level, right?
Yeah, it's got to come up with different reasons to have different. This would have been better off as a 3-episode Uber movie of ship crashing into Earth thing. Really, I mean, you might as well just pull a Force Awakens, but just give it a new twist or something, and then do something else with it, because I'm not quite sure how they're going to how many episodes? 8 episodes? You said this whole thing
8 episodes, and I was like to say 2 hours in, and I still don't know why any of this is happening. Like, what's the point of any?
Well,
of it?
the only thing. So I was thinking about this more after Wednesday's show, and I was thinking, maybe this is supposed to be the Rogue One of the Alien franchise, because if this gives an explanation as to why the mining ship was sent to that planet in the first place, right? Because how did the company know that the aliens were there? Why did the company send a bunch of inexperienced miners to that ship, of all people? Because their first attempt at gathering these things crashed on Earth and then got killed in this prequel. And then they had no other option but to find the nearest ship to LV-426, which was a mining ship. And then they had Mother on the mining ship artificially generate a distress signal that they responded to, rather, because they already knew where the planet was. That's the only thing I can think of. Is
still,
that this
it's convoluted as fuck.
I know, it has to be.
And I agree. Yeah, I know. Yeah,
it has to be.
But again, it still doesn't it still undermines like an alien's. Why? Okay, if they're gonna send an entire colony there, why would you send a facility like that? Why wouldn't you just send a crew down first? Right? Like,
I know. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, see, none of it makes any sense, because to me, yes, alien, they just caught a random fucking signal, is my opinion. Right? Yes. They caught that random fucking signal that happened to be the wrong place to go to. They went there, they got infected. Because the whole thing wouldn't have happened had they listened to Ripley in the first goddamn place when she said, don't let him on the ship.
Mm-hmm.
It's protocol. And then Ash, like I said, he was just going under the whole idea, and they kind of like, from my memory, it's really kind of cloak and dagger, but whatever Ash and Mother are talking about, to where clearly, like, yes, you could read into that a little bit, but I felt that was just more of, we have an alien specimen on the ship, okay, the company wants it at all costs. Well, that's what they were saying, and then at all costs meant they ended up, destroying the ship, and
well, and the reason,
but that's where at that point, why would you send a whole nother fucking colony out there? Why wouldn't you just send a research vessel, go get the fucking aliens and bring them home? Like,
yeah, the only reason I see prequels,
and that's
being
what this
made,
is, maybe. I guess.
Yeah. Franchise prequels these days, like I say, are like Rogue One. They're seemingly almost always there to try to fill in the gaps that are unnecessary for the franchise. Solo, a Star Wars story, told a story we did not need to know. Rogue One, quote unquote, was the best of Disney Star Wars, but completely unnecessary in order to explain how the Death Star plans were acquired. They were just acquired. That's it. It's a one line in the opening crawl. We didn't need to know anything else. If this entire show, if this entire plot line is just, and I this is just my speculation, it's just to lead up to Weyland-Yutani's justification for sending the Nostromo to LV-426, I'll feel vindicated in my, sort of backwards, reverse engineering.
But it still doesn't help add more problems to them.
No, I mean, it introduces a couple of new aliens, which, as I think CC said, are effectively boring. I mean, like the eye thing was gross, but that's for its own sake. The blood.
They don't
bugs
feel of the same universe. That's my issue.
Well, I mean, it's hard to say because in the Alien universe you had aliens, and then ultimately you had predators, and maybe some little itsy bitsy things in between or whatever.
My point is like, okay, aliens are going to be whatever the fuck you want them to be, but in this franchise, let's say that's probably a better way of putting it. We already have kind of preconceived notions between what you just said, predator and alien. What's the two things that kind of are really similar between them? That H.R. Geiger mandible kind of like bug / lobster like kind of thing about them. So like a lot of these creatures, I think if they would have been more in between in the lines of those and felt like they were of the same franchise, like I'd been fine. Like that one reminded me of one of the Gorgons from fucking Small Soldiers, right? Like, I mean,
wow.
There's a callback.
And any art design in this show that's actually memorable was pre-existing from the IP.
Yes,
Anything
pre-established.
new that they introduce, right down to like the army costumes. Anything that they try to introduce that's not pre-existing it's not memorable in any way.
Yeah.
So did the
I have to split, unfortunately, guys. I'm sorry. I got to take off.
No problem. Thank you for being here, Scribe. Check out Scribe's channel. I'm sure you're going to be live here in a bit, right?
Yeah. So in about an hour over my channel, doing my latest episode of TED Excellence today. Inspired by, I have to say, I was inspired by Alien Earth in selection of today's talk, because today's talk is, can feminist AI drive gender equality and inclusivity? And in respect to our feminine robot, feminist AI thing in Alien Earth, that's what I'll be talking about today. And we'll see.
Interesting.
Can feminist AI save us all, guys? TEDx will tell us.
Weird.
Yes. But anyway, everybody, that'll be in about an hour at 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern. Otherwise, everybody, enjoy the rest of your Thursday. I will see you guys all again tomorrow morning, unless something else comes up on Midnight's Edge in the morning. And nice to see you, Nick, CC.
I just got to say, what did you say? Like a female AI? Like that's
feminist
all I need
AI. Feminist
AI. That's all I need is another fucking thing telling me I'm misogynist.
I can't wait to see what the argument is, and maybe you can't wait either. But anyway, guys, I'll see you later.
Take care, brother. It's so true, though. What were you going to ask Nick before Scribe left?
Oh, it's like I feel like the Alien franchise heard about how convoluted and confusing the X-Men Star Wars timelines had gotten, and like, no, we need to be the most confusing timeline of the franchise with all these things that are coming out with these in-between things. I'm just like, hearing this like it makes my head hurt. I haven't watched Earth, but between this and last year's Romulus discussion, and then the is it not with Prometheus, like my brain is like, what is going on with this property?
I would generally have no issue with a lot of this crap if it was just set in the future, right? Like that's my biggest gripe with a lot of it, is that you're putting it in this little contained spot where it was like, okay, why would we have aliens on Earth before they ever discovered them on the, like that takes away so much of the, them discovering the eggs and the whole thing. Like to me, it makes it so unimportant now, right? Like,
well, if they go to a season 2 or 3 with this, they're probably just itching to tie it into the original movie.
Well, they already did Romulus, so yeah.
But I mean, like, because it takes place a couple of years before the original movie, you have to think, right? Like, they want to go right into it.
You know what'll be funny is if
characters and
if Scribe is half right. Watch, it's the reason they send Romulus out and not the original. See what I'm saying? Like that. There's just too many.
Again, one of the complications here is with these really long missions, right? Years, decades long missions. How does each individual ship being sent out tie together with each other?
That's my issue. That's kind of what I was getting at, CC, is like there's so many little variables here. Because like I'm trying to even remember, I didn't see in the chat if somebody told me, but They even say, I think, in the beginning of the first Alien movie, how long they've been out on their little thing, and that's what they're all bitching about when they have to go off course, is because they were already close to home, and it just adds more months to them. I think it's almost like a year for them to get home then after that or something like that. So we're talking a long time, right? And that's when, you know, they go into cryo sleep. That's where they're, you know, traveling for a long distance, you know. So like
it's better as a mystery. When in Aliens, they still there's no like big worldwide chase by all these corporations to find the alien in the second movie.
And I would have had no problem with that after the fact, right? Like I said, I agree with you. Like they should have just made the Space Marines, put them into these bodies, because we already know what they're dealing with after Aliens. Put this in the future. A ship just crashed on Earth where after we had a similar event like the first movie. That could have been the first episode. I mean, setting you back into this world again.
One thing I actually liked about Resurrection, as much as it's my least favorite of the first four, is the concept of them getting experimental with it, right?
Right.
They know that this thing exists and they are trying to, you know, figure out what they can do with it. Yeah, learn it, create new organisms. There's something to explore there. I don't need it happening.
Well, they're also trying to find our immortality and how we can use its, you know.
There are good ideas here. They're just not.
Well, and that's why I wish that's where the franchise would go, right? I've been saying this for a while. It's like, go to the future, right? Of course, you know what a company is going to do? They're going to start mixing it with every goddamn thing they can. That's why I loved about the Alien cartoon we never got, the toys that came out of that. That's what they were all kind of based on, is that you had, you know, the gorilla alien, you had the scorpion alien, you had all these different mixes of what the alien, you know, and it's like, okay, we've already seen the human hybrid. That's called the xenomorph. Stop trying to make this weird fucking human-like alien thing. I'm sick and tired of that shit. Get that out of your damn system. Now let's just start seeing shit where it's cool and it's fun and we're just doing what you should be doing. It's war on Earth. It's aliens. You know, why is this so hard to do? Like,
they don't want to be, they don't want to be straightforward movies. They want to be like, this needs to be smart. This needs to be the chocolate with Johnny Depp version of Aliens.
Yeah. But yeah, the Kenner toys, that's what I'm talking about, Donovan. That's, yes. That whole line, if they just adapted that like we were supposed to get with an initial cartoon, it would have been great. But let's see what you guys are talking about. Action Com says, will weapons hit streaming? When will weapons hit streaming? It's Warner Picture, but I think it's also a who is it? Neon? I think so. It's an indie. So I don't know if they control the streaming rights or if Warner does. So it all depends. My guess is probably somewhere between the 36 and 45 day window. Yeah, it'll be out before Halloween for sure. Yeah.
Oh yeah, they want cash in on Halloween.
My guess is probably within a month ish, a little over.
So soon.
That's the average now, unless they start.
Yeah, true.
I mean, like with Superman, it makes no fucking sense, but whatever. You want to be stupid, Warner Brothers.
35 days from theatrical release to everybody can just have it in their homes.
Yeah, they're so stupid about it. Anyway, I'm not even going to keep going with that.
Yeah.
ActionCom says robots transferred into humans are called cyborgs. Yeah, I know. There's so many different things with this thing. I don't know. Would they really be cyborgs, though? Because they don't have any human parts. Because isn't that what technically a cyborg is a robot with human parts, or a human with robot parts, or whatever?
I would have preferred it if this show got a bunch of, you know, disparate, sort of grizzled, older army guys who had their own reasons and backgrounds for wanting to enhance themselves.
Yeah.
But they could have had
Let me at that alien
character,
bug.
You know, yeah, some character building there. They could even do it with these kids, but I would have preferred that, yeah.
It should have just been Starship Troopers. Let's be fucking real. That's what this show should be.
That would have, you know, I mean, either that or again, either that or it doesn't need to be attached to Alien at all in the first place. Then either you go Starship Troopers with it, or you create something completely different that is more Blade Runner-esque.
Yeah.
And lean into the, you know, the more philosophical.
Yeah, this is more Westworld Blade Runner type shit than it is Alien. But I mean, they got the aesthetic right, but they just didn't get the execution right.
Other ideas that belong to a franchise, but we got to slap it on this franchise because brand recognition.
Yep. And then
that's the issue, right?
Flying Blind on a Rocket Cycle says, Robo superheroes Like when Bender called himself Super King. Kind of. Yeah. And then Zaykanen, if I'm saying that right, I'm sorry if I'm not, because you've been here for 5 months and I should learn how to say it. Zakanen, I think is how you say it. Thank you for being here. ActionCom sends in $20 and says, have you read James Cameron's Starlog post about aliens? I did not, but I saw you sent it to me. When you read it, you understand that James thought what happened at Hadley's Hope and extracted cinematic elements from the logical consequences. Okay, well, my main question is, did they know about the aliens? That's the question. Green Raptor says, reminder, Rogue One not only told an unnecessary story, it told one that was better presented in the game, Star Wars Dark Forces. Rant. Yeah, well, you'll have that sometimes, and that's why I don't care for prequels all that much. They generally tell you things you don't need to know or are better in your own mind. Like, it's just the way it is usually.
Well, not everyone and everything needs to have a backstory. There's a time and place for it. Once again, if something like the audience demand for something is that strong, then okay, maybe we can have a conversation around that and discuss it. But this idea of every single character has this deep thing going on, it's way too much. And especially for characters where no one's asking for them.
There's only been one time where we found out more backstory about a character where I thought it actually helped.
Which one?
Freddy Krueger.
Well, it's the main character of that story.
You had by the third film. By the third film, not only was he this filthy child murderer / molester, you find out his origin story, like that his mother was a nun who was locked in an insane asylum and raped over and over again by these nuts. Like, that makes him even more vile, right? Like, it's like, how can you go from the one already that is probably the most vile thing you could be to making his inception itself just an act of pure evil, right? You know what I mean? Like, that's one time that I can think of where they added something to somebody's backstory that made it even better. Other than that, like, then you go the one step further with Freddy's Dead. They gave him a kid. It's like, I don't know about that.
Well, it's another thing that's missing from this show, and credit to Critical Drinkers Show for putting this one in my head. But one thing that's not going on here is the little characterizations of how they act, how they interact in day-to-day life. Like in Aliens, one thing that made that crew believable was how they interacted with each other, and especially in the original as well. Right? You learn about how they literally go about their life. And when they eat together, when they interact, there's just, it makes them believable as humans. It's great if you get the backstory, but you can do that by just showing how they are human, if that makes sense, right? And here, there's none of that, right? There's no life to them on the show. They're just kind of like they're basically just cardboard cutouts for all that really matters, right?
Well, and that's what that original crew was, and that's what kind of pissed me off from the start. Was like you didn't even get to know them before they were hacked off.
And you're right. That's the thing. That actually, for the few minutes that they were on the screen, somehow they were more interesting than anybody else on the show that we saw afterwards. Maybe it was
because they were the blue collar people. They were, the guys like the first movie. Yeah.
But again, as much as that initial scene wasted time trying to tell us, oh, hey, there's these 4 corporations, world building this, world building that. There was also something about them sitting together at the table and eating together that Alien and Aliens in particular both gave us to develop the cast, right? To show us why we care about them without having to tell us about every one of their life events. We attach ourselves to those characters in that kind of intimate setting. Mm-hmm. And there was nothing about this show after that with the cast of characters that we actually get introduced to that comes close to even just 5 minutes spent at the table with them eating together. Even though that scene wasn't done well because they wasted a lot of time trying to tell us about world building, right? Mm-hmm. It's still what was missing. But anyway.
Yeah. No, let's move on to Paramount, though, because we had a big to-do from Paramount. Now that they're under new ownership, David Ellison says Top Gun 3, Star Trek, and more are their priorities, including Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Ronin and, of course, Mutant Mayhem 2. Why they would do that, I don't fucking know.
Oh, they're actually thinking
But
about that.
they do mention Star Trek, but they didn't mention J.J. Abrams or Kurtzman in the Star Trek part. So I wouldn't say that's a confirmation that they're gone, but I wouldn't say that's a good thing for them that they weren't mentioned in that.
I
But their
wouldn't
biggest
believe any of
priority,
it except new ownership is something to, you know.
what were you gonna say?
I'll take a little bit of hope out of new ownership any day.
I would if it was like going to be a change of business, but we'll see how much it
Yeah.
changes. Because I'm not even so sure. I think Top Gun 3 is a good idea. But we'll see how that goes. But yeah, they're also talking about how they're not going to do straight to streaming films so much anymore. They're going to prioritize theatrical release. So yeah, so I'm curious what you guys think about more Transformers, Top Gun 3, a possible
Kinda
new Star
Transformers.
Trek without J.J. Abrams or Kurtzman, and all the other promises they're making, like TMNT Ronin, Nick, that we've been hearing about for years.
Mm-hmm. You know, I for me, the last Ronin, that's going to depend on who's involved. That's as long as I have an idea of who's involved. That's the only reason I'm going to be enthusiastic about it. It's really going to depend on who's involved. As far as Top Gun 3, I mean, sure, if that comes out in like 2028, 20 or later, I'd say sure, great. But right now is definitely not the time for that type of movie. I feel like it's still too soon for something like that. I'm not saying it's gonna
I
be
agree.
bad, but it definitely does need more time. And luckily, to Tom Cruise's advantage, he doesn't have to worry about time. So it kind of works out.
If
in
I were
his
him,
favor.
I'd worry about Days of Thunder 2 first.
Yeah,
if I was going to do
if
anything.
we're gonna do anything, thank you. You beat me to it. Worry about getting that Days of Thunder sequel. That I want now. Though, bring me that, please. As far as Transformers, oh boy, has Paramount ever gotten Transformers right? I mean, yeah, I've been enjoying
Bumblebee
the
is the
comic,
closest I think they got. Yeah.
and that's fine, sure, but outside of the comics I've been enjoying now for almost 2 years now, there's no reason to get excited about Paramount and Transformers. There's really not. And I wish I could say differently because of how much I've become a fan of the Transformers in the last 2 years. So yeah, there's nothing really to be excited about there. I'm hoping the last Ronin, but once again, that's all going to depend on who's involved. And I ain't going to think positive nor negative until I know what is involved. And I think you got a membership, Tom.
We did. We got Green Raptor, who's become a new member. And when that happens, we do a video. And he has become a minimum effort puppy. There you go, my friend. There's your minimum effort. Hopefully Mikey's still watching. That's his favorite one. He got to see it twice tonight, if that's the case. So thank you for that. We also got Jason Webster says, my daughter Zombie 2025 has become the highest grossing South Korean film released this year. Well, congratulations to them. And Gonzalo Bergali, I can't even talk tonight. You've been here for 41 months, but thank you. I mean, just
Go with Gonzo.
That's that. Anyhow, so yeah, so the other thing though is kind of funny is we can't confirm that JJ and Kurtzman are out of the picture, but it does look like they are. Let's just say it that way, because this is I guess not going to be produced with them. This new Star Trek project that's being talked about, United, I guess is what it's being called. So we'll see on
for
that.
Me, it's potential. Everything here is potential. It could be great, or they could completely botch it. I mean, I think Top Gun does have the potential. You could make 10 Top Gun movies, and they could all be good, so long as you have again, get back to that Starship Troopers thing, a good camaraderie of army people getting together and blowing shit up in planes. You know, you can keep doing that, and it can keep being good, or it can just, you know, it can wear itself out, right? And with Star Trek, if Skydance looks at Star Trek as their most valuable property at the moment that they want to build upon and get back to being profitable, thumbs up to that. I mean, if they actually look at it and say, you know, Star Trek used to be good based on having people that give a shit about it, and let's. I actually like the idea of United because there's something to be said about coming out like guns blazing and throw down the gauntlet and put down something that's really, really the absolute best, awesome thing you could possibly think of. And I'm all for that, but there's also something about playing it just a little bit safe and having an entry series. And I like that for Captain Archer because I love Scott Bakula as an actor. I love how he is as Captain Archer. It's maybe not the most prime Star Trek idea you could put to film out of the gate, but that's okay because maybe that's where you're going to get your feet wet, where you're going to get the ball rolling and make sure you do it correctly so that if you just screw up a little bit, you can grease all that out and figure out your process in time to do the really good thing on the second one, right? But if they're at least in that mindset where they want to get us back to it, that's encouraging. Assuming that they're not going to get caught up in continuing all the rest of the crap that we've had from Star Trek. Because again, it's, you know, for me, Star Trek died the day fan films died. Right? Mm-hmm. Star Trek Continues was the last of Star Trek for me. And there was a whole lot of corporate bullshit that went into that. There was also some dumbass people who, on the fan film side, who forced the issue, but there was still dumbass, you know, corporate. From a corporate standpoint, they had a license. They had the license for Star Trek. They had a license to print money, to have the fans make fantastic Star Trek for them.
It's one of the few shows that still has its own fucking convention, even though they like try to kill it seems like, but
yeah. So I mean, yeah, that's where I'm at. Same thing with as with Nick said about The Last Ronin. I love the idea. I mean, I get that going R-rated with Ninja Turtles is a little bit counterintuitive, but is it? I mean, there's a lot of adult...
I love being a turtle. It can work in some aspects. Like I think for a story like The Last Ronin, it's not a bad idea, but it's not something that should be like the thing going forward where it becomes this, okay, well now since this did well, every one of these needs to be R-rated. You can have your, I guess you could say, special occasion story for it, but I don't want it to be the thing going forward. We can have a world where we have both rather than one thing does well, and now we just need to start imitating the crap out of said thing. So let's have a world where we can have the stuff like some of the cartoons and then stuff like the original black and white Peter Laird Eastman comics.
Yeah, I mean, I've always said let's do two different versions. Then I wouldn't give a shit as much about Mutant Mayhem had we had another ongoing, a little bit more PG-13, edgier version of the Turtles, you know, more in line with the original comics. At least what we know of Ronin, what they've talked about for the last few years, is it does sound like they're going to try in some way to tie it into the original 1990 film. Like, even the original April has expressed a lot of interest in reprising her role in the movie.
I'd like to see that. That'd be actually really cool.
I wouldn't have a problem with that, including all the original Turtle voice artists and stuff like that. Hell yeah, get, you know, Jim Henson and crew, or well, you know, his son now involved, because his son actually did more for the Ninja Turtle films than Jim did. Get them back involved again. I mean, I don't know how much you could kind of tie it into the original films because technically Warner Brothers owns those films, but at the end of the day, I mean, you own all the stuff in it since you're, you know, so I mean, I don't see why it matters, honestly. I don't think there's anything that necessarily would stop them, you know, from doing that, like, and using the original voice artists. It's like, I don't see why that matters. Like, I don't see how that's going to make a difference. So that being said, because it's so disconnected in time, that outside of flashbacks, there really isn't much. And a lot of the flashbacks, I think, are even more closer to the, you know, to the events of the Last Ronin anyway. So that being said, like, I don't want to get into spoilers because I know some people haven't read it or don't want to have it spoiled because it is does have a twist in it. But that being said, I just hope they don't do the ending and play off of that. If anything, I just hope it's an open door to go back and explore some previous TMNT adventures in the live action we haven't seen before, maybe. That's all. Because, like, I am sick of Mutant Mayhem. Fucking Seth Rogen can fuck off. And why they're even continuing to go with that is beyond me. Because I didn't even think it was that fucking popular, so whatever. But, fuck you, Rogen! Get away from my turtles! Yeah. Anything else you guys wanted to discuss on the Paramount front, though? Because hopefully they get their shit in the bag, but I just don't see it changing too much considering, but we'll see. Maybe Star Trek has some hope. Did I lose everybody? Oh, there you are.
No, I'm still gonna hammer that drum, but it's like, are they ever gonna figure out that the best way for them to print money, in this case with the turtles, is just to literally get actors in turtle costumes on screen and film that again the way they did with the original film? It's this notion that, oh, well, today's kids won't like it because it's not computer graphics.
I reject that concept of the whole kids only like computer
so do
graphics. I strongly concern that a lot of kids like anime, and a lot of that is not computer graphics. And the fact
and
that
in some cases that's not even as animated as most Western animation.
Yeah. So no, whoever says that is just people who are just full of their own shit. That's not true at all. It's like the whole kids don't read. Yeah, there are kids who love Diary of a Wimpy Kid, kids who love Dogman, kids who love manga, and those numbers are in the millions, and they're actually reading the physical books of those things. So please, I don't know what the hell someone's paying attention to when they say all this crap. It's like they just make shit up and hope people buy into it.
I mean, there are exceptions. I've had in my recent vacations, I've had the opportunity to watch a lot more Bluey and Pepe Pig and stuff like that. There are a couple of really more
fantastic.
smart. They're like, Bluey's a very smartly written show, right?
Yeah, it is.
But there's just the bottom end, and maybe I'm misremembering my own past, but like the dumb shit, like the really dumbed down. I can't even remember the name of this guy, but there's this one YouTube guy who tries way too hard to be Pee Wee Herman. There's some the really dumbed down kids content these days is way dumber than I remember the worst shit being when I was growing up. You know, it's staggering how stupid some of it is, and it's like, I get that feeling like the corporate mentality is, well, can't be smart because it's for kids.
Super Omnicron mentioned another great example that young kids like. So, my kids we were hanging out with one of their friends they've known since they were all babies, and their friend really liked that K-pop Demon Hunters. So I'm like, all right, go ahead and watch it, kids. And
that thing's very popular.
And kids, like, I saw half of it. I wasn't really wild about it, but they were into it, man. They were into it, and hey, that's its own story. That's its own thing. And yeah, kids, once again, kids want movies. Kids do want to read. Kids want their own franchises and fandoms that they can get into to call their own. I don't know where these narratives come from, where that they just want everything that we had. Sure, they like little pieces of what we have. So I'm lucky, like my kids like Cobra Kai, sure, but they also want things to call their own too, and they deserve that rather than just living off the backs of everything that we had.
Yeah. Redosaurus says bringing back Bay for Transformers is like KK bringing back Ryan Johnson. I hear you, but yeah. Paramount should have hired another director after a 5-year hibernation. Here's the problem. This is Bonaventura. I can't remember his first name. This producer, he seems to think that Bumblebee not doing as well at the box office is, the audience saying they want Bayformers back. He didn't realize that, people didn't show up to Bumblebee because they were just expecting it to be more of the same. But I bet you if you look at the video sales, it's a lot different story. But yeah.
How do these people always learn the wrong ideas from these things?
I don't know. Plus, he wants to do this G.I. Joe crossover thing real bad.
Bro, they can't even get the G.I. Joe franchise right on its own.
I know.
How are they going to get right mixing with the Transformers if they can't get the G.I. Joe right on their own?
Right.
Right. The show I was thinking of, I couldn't remember the name. I was Blippy. I hate Blippy. I can't.
Well, this has nothing to do with Blippy, but since I got my my metalheads here, I thought I'd get the reaction from CC and Nick. Megadeth is doing a farewell tour and album.
Mm-hmm.
I heard. I saw that, and it's like, so. And then there was that notion that the farewell tour might go on for several years.
Well, aren't the Rolling Stones on like the 70th year of their farewell tour? Sorry, I talked
that's kind of what I'm wondering about here. I mean, I dig it. Like, you know, I mean, you're right. You have to know when you can't do it anymore, and when you're a metal singer, never mind a regular singer, you know, maybe folk music. Like, I mean, we get like, whether or not you like Neil Young, he's singing stuff that he can sing at the age of 90, right? For the most part. If you're a metal singer, you're not going to be able to do that when you're 80, 90 years old, right? So I appreciate if he's being a little bit self-aware.
You mean he don't talk like that? Well, he's got a quote
it's
here.
It's hard shit to say. I've tried singing Megadeth, man. There's some really hard
with me. Yeah, you know.
It is really hard to sing that.
Yeah, shit. I know. Didn't he quit for a couple of years anyway? Because he couldn't. Because
his
voice was all.
He had an
an
arm injury. He couldn't play guitar.
That's what it was.
And when he had guitar playing issues, he actually initially axed the band like completely, and then he actually wrote and recorded a whole solo, what was intended to be a solo album. And however, his record company, who had Megadeth, were like, hey, you still owe us Megadeth material. So he decided to honestly bring back Megadeth just because he owed that album to, I think it was Capitol Records. And boom, that's how Megadeth actually came back. It was only like a 2-year stint that they were away. But since that 2-year stint, I mean, yeah, he's been active with the band since. CC, I'll stop. Since Tom.
You mean he didn't tell him to go to hell?
Context.
No, sorry.
I love that song from So Far So Good So What.
I'm glad he's still with us. I mean, I know he had the battle with cancer and all that. I don't really want him to go, but I mean, at the same time, like I said, Megadeth is, for me anyways, in my experience of just trying to sing stuff, Megadeth is some of the hardest stuff to sing, period. He has a really high range, and he sings with force, right? Like, there's a lot of, he's not the cleanest, you know? It puts a ton of strain on your voice, not just from a range perspective, but just a stamina perspective. And I mean, I don't know. It's amazing that he still does it as is. I know the band is on a high right now, so there's something to be said about that. I just like, you know, I can understand where he's coming from. I don't want to see the band stop, but I mean, there's no way he's going to be able to do that, you know, if you can even, however well you can even do it now. He's getting older, right?
63. He's going to be 64 in a few months.
Yeah, so it's not oppressively old. We've talked about Dio. Some people can, you know, go well into their 60s and still be able to, but especially with music like what Megadeth puts out, it's
very complex music. It's very complex, especially on the guitar. The stuff he does on the guitar is nuts. Absolutely nuts.
So you need your hands too, for that matter.
Yep, not just the voice. For those guys, you need. Those songs are basically exercises for their hands.
So I'm not going to hold
like that. Eventually, you start sweating,
you know,
bullets.
The part that almost kind of that I'm more disappointed in is the notion of not recording anything in the studio. I hope he actually.
Well, their new album, they got a new studio album that's going to be up for pre-order soon.
And it doesn't have to be Megadeth. I just hope he doesn't necessarily quit on the studio in general of ever writing anything.
Oh, you
new,
mean?
whether or not
Well, I wonder if he'll
tours,
move into producing and stuff, because that's what a lot of these guys do.
He has actually done producing as far back as the early '90s. He did a really great band I like called Sanctuary. Early '90s, he produced their first album. It's really good shit. Dude also went on to start another great band from the singer from Sanctuary called Nevermore. So yeah, he does have his producer credits. I think what Dave Mustaine will do, he's going to kind of go with Megadeth the same way Slayer has gone. And what I mean by that is Slayer, when they called it a day in 2019, they took 5 years off and they never really reformed properly, but they decided, okay, we'll play like the occasional special occasion show. Like last year, they got Bacteria did 2 shows. This year, they're doing like 4 shows. So it's like, I'm sure for major occasions, let's just say, for example, if they have an opportunity to do one more Metallica, Slayer, Megadeth, Anthrax show, Dave Mustaine's gonna sprint to get that money, and I mean sprint, man. Seriously, he will come out of retirement fast for a Big Four show. I could see him doing that. I don't definitely see this being a band that will do like a full-fledged world tour for the next 5 years. If I had to guess, he'll probably do a year and a half to 2 years at best. That way they can cover all the grounds, the US, the A markets, the B markets, the C markets. Then do the European rounds. He's going to definitely do the Latin America rounds. He'll probably even do 2 rounds because a lot of people don't realize how big Megadeth is in Latin America. In Latin America, those fans don't just sing the lyrics. They sing the freaking guitar riffs to those songs. I'm not joking. Go look up on YouTube, Megadeth live in Argentina, Buenos Aires. I may probably butcher that, but you get the point. Dude, Latin American fans are on another level when it comes to metal fandom. And the fact that they sing the guitarist to a song is insane. I mean, I think I've said it before. They're so diehard. The only time I've ever been called a poser by another metalhead was by a Brazilian metalhead. That dude, Latin America, you do not fuck with that type of crowd at Mel. Their passion's on a whole other level that's unmatched. So knowing him, he will do a few Latin American tours just to really milk it in that market. If he's gonna milk one market for sure, it's gonna be Latin America. I'll be shocked if he does. But go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was just saying, like, I'm not gonna hold him to it. I understand it, and I think it's a smart announcement to make. But like, yeah, make the rounds of the world one more time. Go to each city one more time, and then after that, you can you don't have to close the door on ever doing an additional show here or there, or going back to the studio and writing something new, either as a solo artist or with the band, putting out that one extra song. Because I'm not a fan of these absolutes in that sense. You know what I mean? It's like, I will absolutely never get back together with the guys and play guitar again. Oh, come on, man. You know what I mean? But there is something wise about saying that you have to know your limits too.
They might just be pulling it off by the skin of their teeth. Sorry,
no, Dave Mustaine, he's also had even since the 80s, he's had lineup issues like crazy.
Yeah.
Just go through. If there's one thing Wikipedia does actually gets right, it's the Megadeth lineup. The amount of revolving door members, it is insane how many guys he's blasted through. To be fair, it should be obvious by the time you join that band, you're joining his band. It's not a band. You're joining the Dave Mustaine project. So this is probably a Dave move. I know he left America as far as citizenship. I think he now has been split between America and Italy. Maybe him and his wife, Electra, are like, hey, maybe this is a good place to retire here in Italy. And if this is the end, once again, I don't think it'll be the end. I think he'll probably be done with albums, the special occasion show. I will like that Dave Mustaine has played guitar. He's been super influential, and I discovered a bunch of great bands because of him. And also, I was the Megadeth kid in high school when all the other kids were freaking foaming at the mouth
Me
over
too.
Metallica. I was the Megadeth contrarian, and I was very proud. And the way people argue like they're 10 feet tall online, well, I argued like that about Megadeth in the flesh time and time again, and I don't regret one argument of it. I do it all over again. I mean, I remember my first
Metallica's a bunch
Megadeth
of fucking
album.
sellouts.
Well, yeah. And I remember all the shows I've seen. I've met Dave Mustaine. Obviously, their band's been on. He's been on Drew Carey. You had the great references on Beavis and Butthead, Wayne's World 2. Hey, you got any Megadeth? X-Files. They mentioned Megadeth records. So obviously, the band solidified in the pantheon of American culture. Dave Mustaine was probably also one of the few guys, might I add, who. Well, he's not one of those guys who closes his blinders for 4 or 8 years and pretend that the guy he didn't vote for only causes problems in the country. He calls out problems every single time for every single president ever, which to me is like consistent. It means he actually has principled arguments. Yeah, he's more punk rock than most bands who claim to be punk, because most bands they like to.
Man.
Yeah, he actually is against it. He's not selectively against it. So I respected that.
Just comparing the lyrics between
the
two bands is all you need to do. You don't even have to, I mean, listen to the music, but I mean, like, just read the lyrics.
Oh God, yeah. I loved his lyrics. I absolutely loved Dave Mustaine's lyrics, and that definitely added to, I guess you could say, my teenage angst thing, because I was like, wow, yeah, government does suck. It really sucks. And yeah, Dave Mustaine was probably my original red pill in a way before I even knew that was a term or a thing. Like, outside the Matrix, yeah, Dave Mustaine was officially my first red pill in a way. Yeah, he's been on Joe Rogan too. Yeah, that's what I love about Dave, man. He marches to the beat of his own drum. You cannot get that guy to bend over for anything. And he's one of the few guys who called out a lot of the BS with the Kung Flu in 2021 live on stage. I'm sure some of his bandmates in Lamb of God hate it, but screw those guys for being posers, whatever. But yeah, Dave Mustaine, he's a real one. And all controversy aside, I will miss him. I will definitely catch this tour. I haven't caught the guys since 2012. So I'll catch them one last time. But please, Dave, if you're going to play anything, please play Good Morning Black Friday. This isn't tough, man.
Yeah.
Just please play Good Morning Black Friday. You got it in you, man.
One of the best songs.
I know it is. So make it happen, Dave.
But yeah, with lyrics like that, one of the tricks to being an older singer is you have to actually check your ego at the door and change the way you sing it, but still give it your all. You know, not everyone can do that.
Yeah,
but with lyrics like that, it makes it easier because it's just that song is great.
I know. Please play it, Dave. Come on, just one time, man. One time.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it, even though it's not. I'm not happy to hear their ending, but it is good to see them kind of going out on a high note of sorts. I wonder if they're doing it because of Spinal Tap 2. Because remember, no, I'm serious. Because Spinal Tap was the loudest band in the world till fucking Megadeth came along, and then now they're doing Spinal Tap 2 in their final tour, and they'll probably be the loudest band again. So Megadeth can't let that lie, you know. So
I love all the back and forth about mechanics and Four Horsemen. It's clear that people know their Megadeth lore in the chat. I appreciate you guys. You guys are the real
I don't even
ones.
know the older stuff or the newer stuff. I guess you would say like their latter days.
Stuff. I'm talking about the very
older stuff
early days. We're talking
the early days stuff I know very well. Like past in like you know, when you get into some of the latter albums past the 90s is when
okay, well they have 16 albums. They're going on their 17th. Countdown was the 5th album, but I see guys mentioning lore that dates back to Killing Is My Business and Business Is Good, which is the first one. That's the one Mechanics is on. And Good Morning Black Friday was on Peace Sells, which is the second one. Man, Oh, dude, that's probably my favorite
Who's
Megadeth
buying?
album. That's my favorite one. My goodness, when I first heard "Wake Up Dead," bro, I was probably the day I discovered what having a chubby was.
I've always been partial to Symphony of Destruction, but the reason for that is it was the first album I ever heard on CD. So it like literally blew my mind away.
The damn good album. Countdown.
Like especially the way it starts, you know, like that first whole like thing with the orchestra, and then the choir comes in, and then it just kicks in, and it's like, geez. And my cousin cranked up the fucking stereo, and holy shit, like you didn't hear, like I couldn't believe how pure it sounded, right? Like we were so used to the hiss or the crackle of the record, or you know whatever, and the way cassettes sounded and shit, and the radio even, right? Like even the radio didn't sound that good. Like hearing that for the first time, hearing a CD like that was just insane. And then the second disc we listened to was Dr. Feelgood, but I was like, album. You got no Guns N' Roses? Like,
I actually like Dr. Feelgood, but Appetite's a good album. But my only issue with Appetite now is there's some songs that I like that I'm burnt out on. So when I can't
Paradise City for one,
Yep, I can't listen
Sweet
to it on
Child
CD.
of Mine.
I had to listen on my Spotify playlist that took out 3 songs, and then I listened to the rest of the album. I'm sure you can guess exactly what 3 songs. You already listed 2 of them.
Yep, and then let me guess. Okay, the third one would be probably either Welcome to the Jungle or
It's Welcome.
It's
Welcome.
See, Welcome I can still do.
Child.
Yeah, Paradise and Sweet Child I can't do anymore. Cannot do anymore.
It's not of a dislike of them. I actually like them, but it's of I heard them all.
They've been so overplayed.
Yep, that's exactly my issue. It's the same way I'd be okay with never hearing Breaking the Law from Judas Priest ever again.
Same thing.
Like,
yeah, that's true.
Oh,
I don't even know all the words to that, but I've heard the chorus so many fucking times.
I'm sure you have. I'm sure you have. I'm just like, I'm good with never hear this song. Hey, Judas Priest, if you want to take a hiatus from never playing this song again, that would be great.
No, like because Guns N' like, you know, you said Megadeth over Metallica, right? Well,
yeah.
Before that, it was GNR or Motley Crue, right? I don't know if you remember those days.
Yeah. I obviously wasn't
I was
old
more of a
enough for
GNR
those days,
guy,
but I knew of them. I knew of them. I do like both, but if I had to come down to one, I would definitely chosen GNR. That's for sure, because Feel Good is good, and what's the one right before?
Oh, they got a few good ones, but Motley Crue is a little bit more corporate and more top 40 friendly. Where I always like Guns N' Roses because they always felt like they were like that thing you weren't supposed to listen to.
Yeah.
You
know,
know
about the original anti-PC cover? Do you know about the original?
Oh, fuck yes. Yes.
Dude,
actually,
you know
I have that.
Yes!
Yeah, I have that box set that actually has the original cover in there and everything.
That art would get them canceled.
Oh, well, shit. GNR Lies alone has pretty much gotten them canceled 10 times over, right?
One thing I got
I'm actually glad you know about it. Oh, that's great.
Oh, fuck yeah, dude. I was alive at that time, man. But anyway, you were saying, CC?
I'd say one thing I'll give to Motley Crue is their 2008 album, Saints of Los Angeles, is really, really strong. I mean,
they're fine.
I'd say both bands, obviously, for different reasons, don't really have a substantial discography, right? But I'll give credit to Motley Crue for coming back with a new disc after many, many years and putting out a banger.
The GNR Motley Crue thing, I think, started literally from Axl getting into a fist fight with Vince. If I remember correctly. Well, Axl got into a lot of fist fights. And it had nothing to even do with him, I think. It was something to do with one of the other band members sleeping with somebody's girlfriend.
Hard Rock. He had feuds every Tuesday. Seriously.
That's what I'm saying. Like, he was so fucking hard. Like, that's why I loved Guns N' Roses, right? Like, because Slash was just the, like, he was just the epitome of that cool drug rocker, right? Then you had Axl, who was the ultimate bad boy punk rock lead guy. Then you had, Izzy, who was the cool guy, the cool, talent really in the group. But like, yeah, it just was a hodgepodge of these really fucked up guys who probably, if they weren't in a band, probably would have died of overdoses and car accidents and gun accidents.
Lord,
probably.
You had to see him early if you wanted to hear him sing.
No, yeah, that's the problem. Is Axl's not even Axl any fucking more. No, Not any fucking more. He's the guy that ate Axel. Like he's
do you know about Big Max 103, Tom?
No.
Oh, I'm gonna send it to you. You have to watch Big Max 103.
It's not ringing any bells anyway.
Oh,
but,
dude. Once you see this, you will never forget. Someone in the chat knows what I'm talking about when I say
I'm sure.
Big Max 103. Oh, dude, seriously, like your brain is gonna shit, and it's gonna be great. Oh,
yeah, Kamchi.
I'm putting in the private.
No,
so
I just want to get to these super
later.
chats here because they've been waiting for so long. Thank you so much, guys, for being so generous and patient. Kamchi sends in $1.99 to say, I can make a better TMNT show and movie. F Rogan. I know, right? Or Road Jerk is how you wrote it, but yeah. Deeple101 says people want the first 10 to 20 minutes of Bumblebee as a movie, just adapt the war fall of Cybertron games, and boom, instant hit. Fans like lots of money. Hey, I'm not like a Transformer guy. Like I like them, but I'm like not a super fan. So I just go by what the fans say, and everybody I know likes Bumblebee, and they hate all the Bayformer movies aside from like the first one. So. And then FKHC 2005 sends in love for Clobbering Times. Thank you for that, buddy. We appreciate it. Yeah, he had his birthday this last week here. We miss him. But other than that, I think we pretty much covered everything I'd planned on really covering. There wasn't a whole lot to talk about today, but we talked about it. CC, what do you got going on? Anything special?
Nah, not really.
All right, check out CC's channels.
Might watch some more One Piece.
Maybe you should just go on and start talking about One Piece.
Well, yeah.
You should do a channel that's CC not karaoke.
I've thought about it, but it's like, when am I going to find time? I'm already spending all my days on this. But I've thought about it. Just, yeah, there's only so much time in the world. So I'm going to watch some One Piece, make some food, sleep.
All right, sounds good.
Sleep.
Well, that's what you do, you know. And Neek.
Hi. So let's see here. I posted a Megadeth video today on the Bonded by Metal channel. I'm sure one of our great mods will post that channel link in the chat. So do sub to that. Check out my full thoughts on the Megadeth situation. Obviously, Toxic Tuesday is back on Rumble. We'll be talking Charles Bronson's The Mechanic next week. And Klobby's Comic Shop is Saturday night as well. So looking forward to that as well. Yeah. And please, guys, look up Motley Crue Big Max 103. You guys are going to love it, and you can all thank me later. Thanks for having me, Tom. Good to see you, CC. And I hope all of you in chat have a magical evening.
All right. Take care of yourselves and each other. And we will see you very soon.
Cute kitty.